Hey guys, so let's take a look at NBP Actions 15 Advanced Selections on an AI image that's, arguably photographic, but pretty much looks like an illustration or a rendering, a 3D rendering, right? This one was done by AD Series, who's a photographer as well as an AI artist. This came out of MidJourney. And like a lot of MidJourney images, it's not super high res. It doesn't have a lot of bit depth to it. MidJourney is outputting, 8-bit JPEGs and some level of compression. So we don't have a whole lot of data integrity to work with. But this shot, or this rendering, if you will, can still be modified using the right tool. So let's say we have a vision. We want to take all of the, purple, blue, and green areas of this suit and change the color. And it might seem pretty straightforward. The green and blues are pretty easy, right? But let's attempt this. Let's try and see what happens. Okay, so let's put on a hue and saturation adjustment layer, and we'll go to our blues, and we'll make some shifts, and we can see it sort of works. Neat. Okay, so we can expand it more into the green if we want to, and look at that. We have a good selection. We made it from sort of green and blues. Now we have it pinks and purples. Neat. But what if we didn't want to keep that variation in color? We don't want pink and purple. We want all the same color. Well, we can't exactly do that easily here. We'd have to try to target with these sliders, to target our greens and cyans, and target our blues, and move the hues back and forth until they matched, and hope that the blend over areas would, if you've experienced this, you know what I'm talking about. This is a cool result if you wanted it. It looks great. Cool. We made it purple and pink. Neat. What if we want a selection? What if we want to do something else to it? What if we want to make it not just shifting in hue? We want to do other things, add contrast in different ways. We want a clean selection, and we don't want to take the time to do pen tool or other complicated ways. So what we do is we run NBP Hue Range Selection Advanced Subject. It's not that important to do the subject because the background's so neutral, but we're going to do it anyway. Photoshop should do really well in doing this subject selection here. All right, so we're done. Now let's turn this off. We're going to go to again, we have videos on all of this, and I recommend you watch it. We have a whole training video on Actions 15. I'm going to go to cyans for grins, but I'm going to use the eyedropper tool and click right there. And then I'm going to brighten that and then turn on our layer stack again. So now we have the beginnings of what we want, but I am going to throw in our full hue map into it, which looks like this. This also gives you an idea of just how low data integrity we have on the shot or on the rendering, because that's just what, at the moment, MidJourney outputs. It's not super high grade stuff. Still looks good though. So now let's go back to our range. Now let's go back to where we were. I think it was in cyans. Yeah. And now we can increase into the blues and purples. Select some of that. We'll increase into the greens, and we'll change our blend so it's not quite as sharp, or rather so it is more sharp. And we're going from this to this. Okay, cool. Let's see what our levels output does if we maximize it to really get clarity. It didn't do much. Okay, cool. So we'll go back to cyans, and we'll keep playing with this range and see how much we can pull. This is not bad. We can go to our black masking, and we can paint with white. Again, not the most intuitive thing in the world, but we can get rid of little details right here and now if we want to. We can make significant artistic decisions if we didn't want like the gloves or something like that. Could erase those right now, but we can change all this later. Oh, AI rendering fingers is always a mess. Okay, we don't seem to have the face, and that's fine, but we do have the eye, so I'm going to remove that. I don't want the eye. Okay, little details of blue and purple up there, which look pretty darn okay. So let's go make selection. We're going to delete the hue range stack, and then we're going to go to hue and saturation. We can get the same result we got earlier. We shifted to purple and blues, or we shifted to pink and purples. But now we have a selection, allowing us to do a colorize, for example. Now it looks like Iron Man. Okay, and we can do a full green. We can do deeper green, bit of a cyan. We can do all this stuff, and that's fine. So let's leave it on this purple, right? And then let's use that selection. We select it, and then we'll go to curves. And we can take curves and put it on like an increased contrast. There we go. Why not? See what we get there. And that's a little bit strong, so we're going to modify that a bit. But we have quite a contrast boost on that. That's kind of cool looking. We'll change the opacity of that. And then if we really want, for some reason, we can also go to selective color. Oops, the whole thing on that, didn't want to do that. Let's go ahead and just copy that mask over. We could also put all these together in one folder and mask the folder, but here we are. Okay, and we can make creative choices here as well, because now we have a selection. We can use any tool, and getting that selection is the key. And that is where Actions 15 really comes in, allowing us to get the selection that we want using different ranges, whether it's colors, hues, or luminosity ranges, right? So now we can do anything that we want. So we went from this, which is cool. And then, okay, what I really wanted was, again, I sort of wanted the Iron Man vibe. I didn't get it initially on this Samus rendering, and now I have it because I don't have to worry about, you know, shifting the blues and the greens and the cyans. I can just capture them all together, really maximize the selection so it's not fully blended, so I can do a full recoloring, and then I can go from there. And that is the beauty of having the tools and the power to select things exactly how you want to select them. And you can modify this in any way that you want. You can even take the blend diff, if you will, and take it out of the highlights. And this is not uncommon. Okay, take it a little bit out of the highlights if you really want, something like this. If you really, really, really want to make the highlights a little more neutral, whatever. You can do whatever you want with it once you get your selections in place. And that's what Actions 15 is about. Getting those complicated selections so then you can do anything you want with them, not just shifting and all that. Now, to show you a counterexample real quick, if we went to subject real quick, we're going to do subject selection because we're going to be fair here. Go to color range, and we did a sampled color of that suit and then increased. We're doing okay. It's not too bad. We're going to use the plus eyedropper and try to get more of that range. Okay, not too bad. Take it down. Take it down. We still have lots of other ranges that don't really belong here that I don't necessarily want. We have a lot more to fix and a lot to clean up, and we don't have a solid pure white mask for a recoloring. This won't be as clean, right? And if I were to go to just simply blues, we have a bit of a disaster, cyans and greens, you know, it doesn't really work the way we want. So that's, again, why we use that sort of thing. And as a reminder, guys, once again, this stuff gets tricky because here's a Hue analysis and it's a mess because this is just what's being output from MidJourney right now. We're probably not going to see super high grade outputting for a while, or at least maybe for a premium account or something like that, or a pro grade commercial account or something, or I don't even know what's possible. But I do know for the most part, these images come out pretty low grade. So having some advanced ways of selecting things based on hue range as opposed to trying to make, for example, a pen tool mask from a low-grade image can be frustrating. Here, we just target the pixels in question, right? And that is why Actions 15 is powerful, even for graphic 3D looking illustrative things.